Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another high-level Marvel Rivals ranked cast. Today, I am wearing my shirt as a warning for the Rivals community to not make the same mistakes, and I have brought you the #1 ranked Captain America player according to RivalsMeta.com. This is, according to them, the highest ranked Captain America player with a 64% win rate, which isn't the highest Captain America win rate, but they have significantly more games than the player with the highest. The player with the highest is called the Danu guy. This guy, Mr. SHREK, has 181 games, which is over double. Almost, over triple the amount that the new guy has. So we're going to jump on with them because they have significantly more games. They are ranked the highest according to whatever system that Rivals Meta actually uses to calculate who the best player is. So I'll get that loaded up, but a quick reminder that if you enjoy the videos that I do and you're excited for the MRC, which again I'll be covering a MRC cast every single day when that comes around in early June, then please make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. You can also support by becoming a member to help support the channel. The members help me, not have to worry about AdSense so much because it's not high. YouTube does not pay out a lot, so any little bit extra helps me keep making these videos and not have to worry, about doing as much and not have to worry about affording groceries in today's climate. So big shout out to our members Puff, Mendeli, Doki Poki and John. If you want your name shouted out as well, then you can join them by hitting that join button underneath the video. Let's jump into the game and talk about this matchup. So once again, as I mentioned before, Mr. SHREK is our #1 Captain America player. We're going to start off with the Groot band out. Also, just so you know, obviously, stuff changes on leaderboards pretty consistently. We are talking about the #1 player as of the 7th of May. The 7/05/2025. As I record these in advance, upload them for members early, which is an advantage of becoming a member. And then I get jumping on in. We're going to see the Groot taken away, the #1 tank at the moment in terms of the bans. Psylocke, still very popular. Human Torch has massively leaped up as well as Iron Fist. This has been the season of Human Torch and Iron Fist. They're both going to get banned out here. Mace, another insanely strong player. We've got some very familiar names here. We got Dongmin, we got RyanGosling, we got Doomed. We got some high players here. WHYBUFFROCKET? Great question, because everyone was whining about it all across Reddit for months. That's why, because they're trying to please the community, and the community doesn't know when to not whine about something. We've always got to be whining about something. Alright, let's jump on in and introduce our players. Ladies and gentlemen, on the left-hand side, in the blue trunks of Krakoa, we have Piercing playing the Lunar Snow. Whitor will be on the Winter Soldier. Mr. SHREK on the Captain America. Meaning we do have the team up here if they want to use it. Prinçé will be playing the Loki. It's on Spooderman. And Space will be playing the Emma Frost. And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, it is going to be Dongmin playing the Magneto. PS2 on the Loki, on the Lunar Snow. RyanGosling will be playing Winter Soldier. WHYBUFFROCKET is playing Rocket. How ironic. Necrize will be on the Emma Frost. And Doomed will be playing the Hela. Always viable, always popular, as Mr. SHREK already in the backline, causing problems, trying to dive onto those strategists, trying to take out Rocket, looking for the map heal, pushed out Soldier's Fist, denied that, and shut down completely. Nicely done, RyanGosling, with the shutdown there. Bob also dropped low, finds the BRB, going to be able to take that out, remove that from the board. RyanGosling unleashing a lot of damage onto Mace, takes out that regeneration domain lantern. Down goes Mace. Looks like red team going to be taking the first percentage onto the point here. Mr. SHREK has returned. Whitor moving off of the Winter Soldier, so no more team up onto the Hela of their own. Want to try and ping from a distance here. SHREK healed to full. Making their way in, slow but sure, shield up. They don't want to take any unnecessary damage before they actually arrive at the point here. Also, this gives more time as a distraction for their team to make their way in. Single auto, not hyper committing. Shield up a lot of the time here, not using it as an emergency tool, but actually keeping it up as a pre-engage tool. There comes the shield bounce, they try to get onto the point, but in comes that Seer for the extra sustain and the damage boost. They go to the backline onto RyanGosling to try and take them down, but with that Fate of Both Worlds, this will likely be the end of Mr. SHREK's push, but no, turning all of their focus onto WHYBUFFROCKET to chase them down. The hyper mobility, a little bit of verticality that Rocket has, making it a little bit harder, but it's going to be Red Team once again who take the dominant fight here, trying to chase down Ob. Not enough for the finishing blow. No more resets as RyanGosling just picked up multiple eliminations there, up to 5 final hits here, 3k damage, 3.4 highest in the game so far. As Ob comes in once again into the backline, going to try and see if they can find an isolation here. Not need to worry about it as of yet. Whitor trying to land some shots as Ob, spectacular spin onto PS2, takes them down, leaves a little bit of freedom as Doom's going to take to the sky with that Goddess of Death, Media M as well to try and focus onto Whitor, focusing onto the Goddess of Death, going to try and ping her out of it right away here, back it out, targeted down and absolutely pinged off here. Mr. SHREK wants to get into the backline, but a little bit outnumbered here, focus onto the Emma Frost, who's going to try and run her down here, and successfully able to do so with the help of Piercing. Playing aggressive, but not hyper-committing yet. Again, shield up during rotations here. And a little bit of standstill portal to make sure that they can get out of danger here. Let that shield recharge, map heal for the extra sustain onto the backline, trying to take out the Hella or the Bucky here, but that's both damage dealers here. Freedom charge to try and focus down RyanGosling, his Soldier's Fist to try and get that extra damage number. Soul Cypher came out, but it's not enough for the finishing blow. Mr. SHREK pushing on in into the backline, but it's a little bit surrounded here, but the distraction is good. Again, not hyper-committing to the isolations here. Being distracting, just as viable, it seems, for Mr. SHREK than actually going in for the eliminations. If we actually look at the statistics, Mr. SHREK only has 1 final hit, 3 eliminations. Their team is losing, so maybe they're just not going to be able to turn this round. But they are playing hyper defensive here, diving the backline and being a distraction. Now, they are going to have to be the one to touch the point here, which they will do, pushing on in, touch, quick map heal, and making their way back onto the point, holding that shield for at least a moment. Shield bounce for a little bit of extra damage, holding that overtime. Cap, one of the best characters for holding overtimes, as we all know. They can really delay into that backline. Going to be the one standing on the point, utilizing the shield for the extra sustain as they try to get onto the front line this time. They don't want to step off the point because they're the one who can stay on it the longest because it's so hard to pin down. Not hyper-committing to too many autos, really backing out when need be. Shield up is the way to play from Mr. SHREK at the moment as they're really holding it. Doing the dive off the point, trusting their team to hold it. Map heal, propping them back up, looking for a little bit of zoning to try and force out the backline. Media M coming in as they focus onto PS2 to try and take them down. Focus down, they're taking a lot of damage, but another freedom charge comes out with the help of Ob. They take out the Lunar Snow. If they could continue to remove the strategist, then they may have enough DPS to turn this round, but Necrize with that Psionic Seduction is trying to turn this round. Mr. SHREK, though, still untouched, relentless back on the PS2, who came back from the BRB. They're back onto the point overtime. Currently, Blue Team were able to cap the point, but they all get taken down. It's going to be Red Team who claim control and will take point number 1, most likely. Alpha may go in for another delay. Does dive it, does not make it in time. Grove goes over to Red Team as we head into the Blue Team, trying to even up the score on Cradle. If they can, they'll take us to Carousel. Otherwise, Red Team going to be able to close this out quite quickly. Whitor swaps to the Punisher partway through that game. Mixing it up a little bit here. RyanGosling. If we look at these statistics here, 7 final hits, 8.1k damage.
Get ready.
Absolutely popping off on this Winter Soldier here. 9 eliminations, only getting taken out once. Doomed only getting taken out 3 times. Doomed was only taken out once after 13 eliminations, 6 of which were final hits, only 1 less than RyanGosling. keeping up very effectively here. We look on the other side. Mr. SHREK, despite having the shield up for most of the game, actually kept up with their team in terms of damage numbers. Keeping up with just a little bit behind MACE and Whitor, doing a pretty solid job here. And keeping up with Doomed. Very interesting to see. We'll, of course, be sticking on board with Mr. SHREK as they're the #1 Captain America player according to Rivals Meta. So we want to see how they play, look into the nuances, analyze. These videos are just as much for me as it is for all of you, because I get to learn like the little nuances, learn what to watch out for during actual casts, if I get to do any MRC in the future, pressure onto Doomed. Even with the shield mostly down, they still pressure in a little bit. 5 shield is enough to block hits. Still diving in, trusting their healers. They've got the Snowflake. Not enough for the finishing blows for the moment. They're starting to get healed up slowly. There we go. Takes out WHYBUFFROCKET and keeping the pressure on. Down goes 2, looking for the 3rd, and with Magneto down. And that's Punisher really making the difference here. Nicely done. We're also going in for a triple Vanguard composition, bringing back that style of play as made their way onto Magneto here, meaning that Mr. SHREK is essentially a little more free now to play what is essentially the second duelist. Pressure, backline diver, leaving Whitor to just focus, do damage. They can even culling turret, because there's enough defense here for them. Good shield bounce, hitting multiple targets there. Pressure onto the backline. Once again, onto PS2. Need to dodge the snowball. If they can do that, they can keep the pressure on quite effectively here. Damage output's good! What a blow up that time! Here comes the Seer. Meteor M came out, but wasn't able to find the full target. Piercing with the fate of both worlds, giving them counter turn as dongmin with their own Meteor M finds Whitor. Nicely done, Mr. SHREK. Continuing to chase down. Doomed would be the perfect target here, but that is going to be a goddess of death. That is something that Cap cannot deal with. They could set up a shield and try and block it, but just ground shots would easily shut them down. It would be way too rough to deal with, so they're just going to stay mobile, stay moving, making sure that they can't really get hit, can't really get picked off, get snowballed here. And that wastes a lot of ult charge, but the shield bounce able to get the pickup onto PS2 once again. Laser guided is Mr. SHREK onto that Lunar Snow. RyanGosling, Tater Shock. Looking for Whitor, dropping him so low, finds it, max range. Potato Voltage doing so much work here. Prinçé with the fate of both worlds to match out with those psionic seductions which are coming out from both sides. PS2 doing the same on the other side to try to stay their team through, because psionic seduction does basically nothing for anyone. Doom swapping off with the Hela is now on the Wolverine with 3 Vanguards. Absolutely, you Wolverine. Get that percentage damage, baby. Onto MACE. Here's the isolation with the percentage damage. That's the pickup. Mr. SHREK is trying to do some work in the backline, but they are starting to become more and more alone as they go down. Whitor is getting chased all the way back to spawn almost. Trying to turn onto Wolverine, who's gone in so deep, finds the finishing blow, and even gets out. Misses the map heal, but will be able to retreat back to the point. On 99%, red team back in the game. Mixing it up here onto the Namor, and MACE has swapped onto the Hulk. They're going to try and punish this Wolverine with a little bit of backline protection, a little bit of extra damage. They're back on that dual Vanguard composition as in comes Mr. SHREK into the backline once again, dashing away. Tackled by Wolverine, but sustaining through. Shield up for the majority of the time, as we've already noticed. Shield bounce. And once again, back in. Consistent damage. Not getting focused. Back onto PS2 with the focus. Huge damage. Almost the finishing blow, but the shielding is good. It's enough for the finishing blow, though, as dongmin is taking out Whitor. Finishing blow on the PS2. Here comes the final stand from Doom, taking out Prinçé, leaving Mr. SHREK still on the point. Getting CC'd by the Ember Frost. One of the powers of Ember Frost versus this Cap. Portal to get out of danger, but run down Mr. SHREK. No mercy, no chill. Going to be backing away here. Finds WHYBUFFROCKET. Trying to get the focus down. PS2 is here as well. Finally, the snowball comes out. MACE going to Hulk smash into the backline. Keeps the point held as we will see blue team keep control and even it up, taking us to Carousel. little bit of adjustments, able to sustain the majority of that early game with the triple Vanguard swaps, allowing them even more sustain, the ability for Cap to have a lot more freedom. And they adjusted it beautifully. And the second that Wolverine came out, it's abandoned. We're back onto the Moors for the extra damage output, and they mix it up beautifully. But once again, going back onto this, Whitor was on the Doctor Strange there for a moment. A little bit of extra tackiness in the portal to get them back to the point so they could try and secure it. But now back onto DPS with the Winter Soldier of their own, moving away from that Punisher. Speaking of Punisher though, RyanGosling will be adjusting that here, bringing out the Punisher of their own with WHYBUFFROCKET. Maybe that extra damage output, especially with infinite ammo shotgun, could be enough to absolutely annihilate Mr. SHREK. Doomed on the Star-Lord, making it so that they also cannot be targeted. But it does mean that all of that targeting from Cap is going to be onto basically PS2, which, to be fair, isn't that different from what's been happening so far. Finds Doomed. The focus is real, chases them back. Invincibility frames, able to block it out. Onto RyanGosling, into the backline, finds PS2. Once again, freedom charge. They are in there! Hyper aggressive! It's only been a couple seconds of the game. Gets locked down with the diamond form, though. Shield up, down, bouncing away. The shielding from the ultimate is good. The healing from their team is good. PS2 forced to drop that fade of both ones. They turn their attention onto RyanGosling and whoever they can reach here, trying to burst their way through those Magneto shields so they can try and get the extra damage. The Proteus gives them the opportunity. Jumping, staying mobile as often as possible as RyanGosling ulted here to try and secure the point. But they're getting focused down, getting a little bit of extra healing from their team so they can try and hold on to that point, but they're not getting a lot of value out of this ultimate here, trying to get that focus onto the Hulk. Not enough DPS here. Turning the focus onto Mace, but it's not enough. Another pickup here.
You have my full support.
Whoa, that was a little janky there. With this Namor, mixing it up here, and it's worth sticking with the Namor versus that Star-Lord. Keep the pressure on the sky. Don't let them mix it up here.
I'll be ship-shape in no time.
Mr. SHREK is once again being a menace. Being a problem. Good shield. Nicely done that time. Holding onto it till when it was needed. Star-Lord going to try and give chase to the hypermobile character. Shield bounce once again, and back onto PS2. That's going to be the Seer coming out, and it's from the red team, meaning that Mr. SHREK is going to get focused down with even more damage. Will be able to retreat here, once again using that hyper mobility. Not looking very healthy here, almost certainly going to fall. The quick dash, the getaway, but no healers are even close to being able to protect them here. Gets one tiny heal. But again, still hasn't been healed for a while. They were just too far away from the rest of their team. Their team was getting focused down. They couldn't get into a spot where they could get healed because that's what the enemy team was. So that is going to be a takeout here. We're still waiting for their team to respawn before they go in. RyanGosling, culling turret is available. Are they also going to attempt to utilize that, or are they sticking, looks like, just maximum damage output here? Here comes Mr. SHREK once again. Let's watch this from PS2's view to see how this focus goes. Freedom charge comes out. Fate of both worlds has to be used as Kraken impact comes on in. Protection is good. You can see Cap charging in. There comes the final judgment to try and burst them down, but they're already gone. So mobile. Fate of both worlds going to expire. Horde of Proteus into the backline. Down goes the Punisher. And Cap is on PS2, who's doing their best to ignore them, but they can't ignore them for long as Mr. SHREK picks up another elimination. Down goes dongmin and Doomed here. Whitor and Prinçé able to finish those off. 60% versus 45, currently in favor of the blue team. Shield to the backline, dodges the snowball. Doom trying to finish them off. An emote there. And a spray. The disrespect from Mr. SHREK. This player has layers. Pick up the silent seduction into the backline. Immediately, Mr. SHREK turns around so that they can be a distraction, so that their team has a little bit of extra space. Trying to get onto WHYBUFFROCKET to burst them down, but PS2 is going to be the more preferable target. Seer comes down for that extra shielding. Focusing down the BRB, the Seer themselves here, but no one else is focusing it, so just let it go. Move on to the point. Try and keep focusing onto this backliners. Keep them away from their team. Keep them busy. Trying to keep this pressure on. Let's jump back onto, well, PS2's down. Let's try WHYBUFFROCKET as the focus is good. He's still still there, focusing them down. Rocket trying to run into their own healing to keep that sustain up. PS2 still here on the flank, getting focused down, a little bit of extra shielding. Mr. SHREK takes out dongmin, but no one touches the point, and that is gonna be game. Blue team taking that in a 2-1. Nicely done. Did our number 1 cap get MVP? No, it's gonna be MACE. Holding down full Vanguard duties for the majority of the game, sometimes essentially as a solo Vanguard, as Mr. SHREK is just playing like a Black Panther most of the time. In and out, going for bursts. More of a distraction, honestly, than a Black Panther, I'd say. Just being irritating, being a problem. But again, it worked out. 19k damage as much as Whitor. 11 final hits, 30k damage blocked. They did their job. It's a high skill ceiling for this character. I play a lot of Cap, but I cannot play it that well. Not even close. You see the differences there. You can see what they adjusted. In the first round, they mostly ran shield up to try and make sure that they could rotate in and get to the points safely, and then would re-engage even without the shield sometimes, because they knew mobility would be able to get them out if needed. In game 2, though, they actually focused on keeping the shield up in fights, where they could actually try and sustain, especially against someone like the Punisher, where they could try and turn that round when needed. Only getting taken out 7 times is a pretty big deal here. MACE, though, well-deserved MVP, 22 eliminations, 9 of which were final hits, 21k damage, and 45k damage blocked, which is the highest in the whole game. Let's talk about top numbers, though. 30 eliminations is the top eliminations. That goes over to Obv. Least amount of times getting eliminated is also going to be Obv with 4. Only 1 less than Necrize, but that is still going to be enough. Final hits, 14 for Whitor. 3 more than Mr. SHREK. 4 more than Obv, dongmin, and RyanGosling. Top damage will go over to RyanGosling, though. They had a lot of time to hit that cap, a lot of time to hit Magneto. They had the ability to really maximize damage output here. They got 18 eliminations, 10 final hits. Went down 10 times as well, though. 26k damage, though, will be 5k more than even MACE, who was the highest on the side of blue team. And damage blocked, we've already talked about. 45k for MACE is dwarfing anyone else in the game. Over 10k more than anyone else. And top healing, despite getting focused, despite getting taken down 10 times, the tied highest in the game with Whitor and RyanGosling, PS2 is still able to top the healing numbers. That is a testament to skill. No wonder they were being targeted. Mr. SHREK chose their targets well, because 35k healing while being absolutely run down forever, just on cooldown. Captain America is trying to deliver some freedom directly to you and still out-healing the other strategists? Fantastic. PS2 did their best. Well done. WHYBUFFROCKET with 28k, lowest in the game this time, but again, they were spending a lot of that time healing PS2 because they were being chased. They had to single target focus heals quite often here because of how the damage was split and how the backline was distracted. And then Prince 31k and Piercing 33k. Just doing their best. They only had 1 tank to heal, so you will see those numbers dip a little bit here. They were both focusing onto basically the same targets more often than not. Of course, Piercing snowballing onto Mr. SHREK or onto one of those damage dealers so they could flank whenever needed. And that's it. A fascinating game where we got to see different style of cat play. Didn't realize that mic was a little bit low. My apologies. Sorry if this video is a little bit more quiet than you'd expect. But that is the, according to Rivals Meta, the #1 Captain America player playing a very aggressive game, as you would expect. But the positioning and the way they rotate onto objectives is what I really enjoyed seeing. Starting off on the peripheries with a couple shield bounces, being a little bit of a harasser before diving in when the enemy team engages. And that's where we saw a lot of the engages. They would dive in, try and cause distractions, and then dive out and only commit when you know that those Vanguards are already in combat with the rest of your team. There may have been some voice communications to do with that we obviously don't get to see. But overall, a really interesting Cap play style that a lot of us can learn. Anyone who plays Cap like me can learn a lot from. So really appreciate it, and congratulations, Mr. SHREK, for that win. But for now, that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. We are, as of today, I believe... Hang on, I'm going to check. I believe we're exactly a month away from the start of Season 2. Yeah, 7th of June. February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, we are 1 month away from the start of Season 2's MRC, which, as usual, as I've said, I will be casting a game. I will be releasing a cast every single day, except for if I get this new show running and it does okay. Obviously, if it's getting like 2 views, I'm not going to keep doing it. So make sure you watch that when it comes out. Oh, I realize I probably didn't mention it in this video. I'm going to be attempting to do a weekly news review releasing on Monday or Tuesday of the previous week's esports goings on. This is going to be results. This is going to be what's coming up. This will, of course, include MRC, but it'll also include stuff like Fight Night, Marvel Rivals tournaments, and everything like that. And we're going to try and cover the previous week. So if you run an event and you want it to be talked about, if you have sign-ups, then send a message in the comments and it will be appreciated, or find me in any of the social links in the description below. You can help support this channel by subscribing, helping me get to that 5,000 sub goal, liking the video, leaving a comment to help with the algorithm, to help me beat out the YouTube algorithm, which is definitely what this is behind me, and generally just being nice. I like support, positive reinforcement. It makes me feel good and helps me keep making content by feeling, you know, reinforced. Tell your favorite creators that you like what they do. It means a lot to them. Like, they'll be like, oh, I get, like, a lot of them, especially channels around my size, we don't get a lot. Like, I get maybe a comment to, like, between 1 and 15 comments per video. Positive reinforcement is huge for a creator around this size, and bigger. People just like being told they're doing a good job. So if you like what I'm doing, let me know. It helps with the algorithm, and it makes me feel nice. And I like feeling nice. Like most people, I prefer good feeling over bad feeling. Alright, thank you all very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to become a member for early videos and to help support me, then please hit that join button. If you want to send a one-time donation and not sign up for a monthly thing, then hit that thanks button. Otherwise, you can support simply by watching without ad block, as I try to minimize the amount of ads I put in videos, but I still, you know, I do like a bit of money to afford food. Or you can watch with YouTube Premium. If you have that, then you don't need to worry about it. You are already helping me out. So appreciated. Thank you all very much for watching. I have been Tetcher, and I will see you all tomorrow.